Hello there. Happy to be here on this Thursday afternoon. And I'm just going to take a few minutes, let some people pop on, and also share this video into my group. So hop on and say hello and let me know that you're here. And all right, let's see here. Just give me a second so that I can share this video and then we'll get started. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to share with you how to get your message to land on your ideal clients. I am Katie Collins, and I help coaches and wellness practitioners overcome your fear of sales so that you can get fully booked with clients and have the cash to finally, take that dream vacation or pay down that credit card debt that keeps piling up. Either way, it just feels so good to finally have the time and money freedom that we were all promised when we first got started being entrepreneurs. So thank you for being here today. I'd love to just see, if you're here live, and even if you're watching this as a video later, how many of you have noticed that people are not quite responding to your marketing and messaging, right? And the symptoms of that would be, geez, I've been sending out a bunch of emails and no one replies, or I've been posting on, I keep hearing this a lot, I've been posting on social media over and over and over again. And, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, and still not getting anywhere. Or, sending emails, posting, and then even doing live videos and having it not lead anywhere. So to me, that is a symptom that your marketing and message isn't landing on your ideal people. And so it's just something that we need to tweak, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. So if that is you, if you've noticed that people aren't, quite responding to your marketing and your messaging, I just want to say I totally get it. I understand how you feel, because I used to have that same problem, and just the mere frustration, right? And disappointment that, I wasn't helping many people. And because of that, for some reason they just weren't listening, or they weren't responding to what I had to say. And I remember being so bummed when I would spend a good amount of time creating, totally kick-ass content, whether it was for my newsletters or a video that I did 100 takes of until it was perfect, or, through a workshop that I gave, only to walk away, at the end with 0 results, right? Super frustrating. And, you spend all that time, and then you got the worry and the fear around money. All of those fears would come to the surface once again. And I would constantly go back and forth with my level of confidence as a coach, and I would think to myself, if I'm as good as I think I am, why is no one interested in working with me further? So I was feeling super bummed about that until I found the necessity of having an actual framework. And I'm going to share some of that framework with you today. But once I discovered how to speak the language of my ideal clients, my offers started getting noticed, and people started to come to me for help. And it was so exciting. So that's what I want to share with you today. Maybe you've tried putting yourself out there on Facebook or other social media sites, and you've been networking and you're trying to meet people, but it's just not working. Or maybe you've been doing a bunch of speaking gigs, but they haven't been leading to enrolling new clients. And we all know how much time that stuff takes, right? So you've probably sat there wondering, if you have what it takes to do this coaching or wellness business. And, if you're like me, questioning if you're good enough, are your people really going to get results? And what if you keep putting yourself out there and getting nothing in return, no one responds, right? And so it really is possible to have that steady flow of leads each month with consistent cash in the bank. And if that is something that you would like to create, then you are in the right place. And this short training is for you. So at the end of this training, I'm going to invite you to sign up for a free copy of my ebook, How to Get Good at Selling Your Service Without Feeling Uncomfortable. So that you can learn even more about how to talk about what you do, how to share about your compelling background story so that you're really creating connection with people, and then how to navigate the actual enrollment conversation so that you make a sale, if it's the ideal client that you want. And I promise it doesn't have to feel pushy at all. In fact, my intention is that you get to a point where I am right now, in which I'm saying these days, I love sales. Because I love being able to create transformation in people. It's very exciting. And the only way you can do that is if you enroll them in your programs, right? So also at the end of this call, at the end of this live, you're gonna have an opportunity to sign up for a call with me to explore how I might be able to help you, what it would look like to work together, or also just to give you some ideas on something we're going to talk about in a bit. So I'll just do more on that later. Okay, so before I get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me so that, for those of you who don't know me, just a little about who I am and my own journey in building my coaching business. So I'm just so psyched for the lifestyle I've created for myself at this point. In fact, just this morning I woke up at 6:30 and I just had like a restless night's sleep. And so I allowed myself to sleep in, like those things you get to do as an entrepreneur and really take care of yourself so that you can show up fully for your clients. And it just feels so nice to not have to drag myself to a job that I no longer wanted. So I have that freedom today and the income in order to be able to stay at home and work doing something I absolutely love. I'm so grateful I have that today, but it certainly wasn't always this way. So when I first started my coaching business, it was more of a side hustle. So what I mean by that is I still had a full-time teaching job, and I just didn't really have enough time, or a ton of time anyway, to attract new clients, nor did I know what I was doing. So I got certified as a life coach in 2011, and I was marketing to, quote, anyone who had a life. So of course, this was kind of a tongue-in-cheek comment that I would make, right? When people would ask me who my ideal client was. And I truly believe that every single human being should get a life coach. I think that the transformational work is so empowering to get us beyond any stuck area of our lives. So I think it's really powerful work. But what I really learned was my comment was a very watered down approach to trying to get new clients. And if I'm talking to anyone who has a life, I found I was literally talking to no one instead. So that didn't work very well. So once I learned the concept of narrowing my message down so that I was speaking to a real specific group of people, I noticed that people started to pay attention to me. And it helped me land more appropriate speaking gigs, because I'm sure nothing's worse than preparing for a gig and showing up and giving your all only to find out that the people in the room are not your ideal audience at all, right? So really, picking a niche really helped me identify who I wanted to talk in front of. And then the benefit of me being a teacher for 17 years was that I already understood the concept of what we call backwards mapping. So what I mean by that is getting really clear on what the end result is going to be. So in the teacher world, it was like, what's the objective that the student should be able to do by the end of the lesson, or by the end of the unit, or by the end of the year? And then we would backwards map how they can get there. And so I already understood that at a very meta level. And so once I got clear on my group of people, I asked them a bunch of questions. I interviewed them. And I got really clear on their desires, their needs, their fears, and their goals. And I understood what their concerns and objections were, and I knew what steps they needed to take in order to get to the goals that they had set for themselves. And then I created a freebie that spoke to those things. And I used literally the language that they told me. I used that in the marketing and in the freebie itself. And now I have an audience of people who want to hear from me. And it's now beyond my friends and family, which, in 2011, it was like I had a list of 13 people, and it was like, my aunts, uncles, and cousins, and my dear mom, right? So now it's like I've got a list of several hundred people who want to hear from me. And, many of them choose to work with me in some capacity because I'm speaking their language. So I understand the frustration of not, attracting the right people and always feeling like, it's not a match. It almost feels like dating and can just be super frustrating because, I really had experienced that for a good 2 years. And so I became determined to specifically help women dial in their messaging and client attraction strategies because I believe the world definitely needs what we have to offer, and we're all so damn talented. We just need to learn how to get out there and get our message heard. So I also wanted to share, I really do help my clients get results. And I wanted to screen share, but I'm not even sure if I can do that. I am just not that cool with Facebook Live. Let's see. When I was playing around with it earlier, I saw the options, but now, of course, I don't see them. So it's okay. I'll just tell you. I just got this really sweet testimonial. Janie had said, Katie is a great teacher and really showed me an important strategy in putting my program together. Until today with Katie, I was very lost as to how to even start to put my program together. And now I feel inspired and have faith that Katie and I will work very well together for positive results and prosperity, and most importantly, I felt listened to, acknowledged, and inspired by her genuine and authentic self. And then she told me that I rock, which is always nice to see from clients. So it's awesome to finally get the right people to listen to what you have to say so that they can really learn from you. And that's just what I want to teach you how to do. So I've been working with coaches, wellness practitioners, and other service-based business owners for 5 years now, and I've definitely noticed some client attraction strategies that get big results, and that's what I'm going to share. So I'm going to start with 3 pertinent questions to ask yourself so that you can assess whether or not your message is going to land on the right ideal clients. And then don't worry if you're one of those women who's feeling stuck in the zone of, not a match over and over again. It's so not your fault. Like I said, I was there too until I understood this framework that I needed to work from. So I think once you've got this framework, things will be so much easier for you. All right, so the good news is that knowing what I'm going to share with you today is going to set you up to take action quickly. Otherwise it's just going to be the same old story of not enough money, wondering if this is ever going to be a successful business. And I know you're tired of that, right? So you're going to learn from me today, but then I just urge you to actually take action. Okay, so first question is, if my English grammar is perfect, it's to whom is your marketing speaking to, right? So a more casual way to ask that question is, who are you talking to? So first, you need to identify who is your ideal client. And I totally get it. You don't want to leave out anybody because, you could be leaving a potential opportunity on the table. But hear me out. If you send an email as a relationship coach to both men and women, the message would be watered down, right? Because the men have very different needs than the women, right? Don't they? And so imagine how much more specific your message would be if you picked one gender and spoke to those specific pains, frustrations, and goals, right? Then they would get it. And instead of looking over their shoulder thinking that you're speaking to someone else, they would know that you're speaking directly to them, okay? So it's an example of really narrowing down, even though I'm sure as a relationship coach, you could serve both. Now, I'm asked all the time, can I have 2 different niches? Well, you can do anything you want. It's your business. But my recommendation is not to do that, because if you have 2 niches, then you're spending 50% of your time on both of them, right? And we all know that when we put 50% effort into something that we're trying to master, our results are, like, let's be frank, they're going to kind of suck, right? So I don't want that. So what I really would love you to do is to pick one group and get really good at it. And when that is at like an evergreen status, meaning that it's like a churning machine that is bringing you in clients and money on a consistent basis, then you can move to another group and start building a following from that. Okay, so once you pick your group of people, you've got to identify where they hang out and spend time, right? So you want to find out where they're already congregating and meeting together so that you can join them there and then start connecting, right? Now, you get to celebrate here because you don't have to start from scratch. So a lot of people think they have to start a community in order to build a following. Yes, starting a community is great, but it's a very long-term process, whereas you could join a group right now, meet somebody tomorrow, set a follow-up call with them on Monday, and have a sale Tuesday, next week, right? And that's not going to happen when you're building your own community from scratch. Okay, so where do you start looking? The easiest place to look is in groups that already exist. So I'm talking Facebook groups, I'm talking meetup groups, I'm talking LinkedIn groups, although I think they have fallen very flat over the last year or so. They still exist, and you could give it a try depending on whether or not that's where your people are hanging out. And then networking groups, both online and face-to-face. So there's more and more online networking groups popping up all the time. In fact, I have one, I can't think of the name right now, but if you're interested in being introduced to an online group that's free, that meets on Tuesday mornings, every Tuesday, full of great content, let me know. And I'll link it in the comments at the end of this. But I am finding, I've got a face-to-face networking group, the Polka Dot Powerhouse. So if you're a woman watching and you're interested in what that group is all about, check it out online because they're nationwide, if not worldwide. We've got a couple in Canada, mostly American, and they actually have an online international meeting as well. So depending on if your business is, local, of course you want to network local, but if your business is online like mine, going to the online meetings makes a lot of sense, and you get to introduce yourself several times a month depending on how many groups you're in. So I remember for myself, a long time, I thought those were a waste of time. I didn't want to book connection calls. I don't have time for coffee. I don't want to leave my house because I work from home. So to go have coffee with somebody takes at least 2 hours out of my day. And I just didn't want to do that. So I finally found a way to make the connection calls work for me, and I do them over Zoom. And I'm just connecting with lovely people, and I'm getting clients that maybe aren't even in my niche, but they're attracted to me and my energy, and we end up coming up with a smaller option for them to be able to work with me, on something very specific that I could help them with. And they were thrilled, and I was thrilled. So anyway, groups is the best place to go. I've been getting better about joining Facebook groups and, commenting and giving value and answering questions, and just really like playing the game in the Facebook groups. And I just really encourage that for you too, especially if you're a group leader. It's really nice to give another group leader your energy, right? Like they built that group. The least you can do is show up and answer their questions and give them some energy and create that space. Because I'll tell you, when people keep seeing your name over and over and over again, you're already establishing yourselves as an expert. So those are often overlooked and underutilized, and I'm urging you to change that. Okay, and then the last thing I want to say about your niche is once you find them, once you find this group of people and you start connecting with people, really spend the time to get to know their challenges, their needs, and their desires, right? The answers that you're going to get from those conversations are worth their weight in gold. Trust me. So if that piques your interest in any way, or if you have any questions about that, pop it in the comments, because I just absolutely love market research. And now that I have like a huge list of compiled, challenges and outcomes they want, goals that they have, stressors that they have, I am just so psyched when I go to write my marketing or I'm creating another freebie. I know exactly what they want. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But anyway, spend the time, like I just talked about connection calls. This is a perfect opportunity during a connection call to ask them a few questions during the connection call, like market research, and type out their answers. So the other awesome thing about doing market research is a lot of times they end up becoming your client anyway. Okay, so that was key number 1, is getting clear on who you're talking to. All right, so then number 2 is, the question is, when you network, could people repeat back to you who you serve and what you offer as a result? Okay, so I'll kind of say in, conversational question, when you go to a networking event and they're like, hey, nice to meet you, Katie, what do you do? And I answer the question, could they repeat it back to me? Because if they can't, then that gives you some information that maybe what you said was too difficult to understand or too esoteric and not enough like concrete, yeah, I get it. Or it was just, it didn't land for them. They don't know who you're talking about, right? And so again, not that you want to quiz people while you're networking, but get some feedback from people. Like, hey, this is my answer to the question, what do you do? What do you think, right? Like, could a 10-year-old understand it? Do you know exactly who I serve? Does a specific face come to mind? If the answer is yes to all of those, then you're doing really well. And if it's no, then we got to tweak it, okay? So when you're connecting and finding people in your niche, you want to make sure that your introduction in response to the question is clear, succinct, and easily understood, right? So keep in mind, you have only 7 seconds to make a first impression. So that is actually less time. There's 7 seconds versus the length of time it takes you to say your what do you do statement, which is probably going to take longer than 7 seconds. So really, the beginning of it should not talk about like a noun of what you are. So I'll have a lot of people say, for example, I'm a sales coach, right? Or I'm an entrepreneur coach. Okay, so that's a noun. So instead, I want you to say who you work with. Okay, so I work with entrepreneurs, and then what you help them do. So I work with entrepreneurs who struggle with blah, 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 and I help them achieve, X, Y, Z. To use that dating example again, I work with women over 40 who are single and desiring a committed long-term relationship. I help them get really clear about what is holding them back so that they can finally attract the love of their life, right? Something like that. All right, so making sure clear, succinct, easily understood, getting so clear about who you serve. So entrepreneurs to me is a very general answer, right? Like, what kind of entrepreneur? Are you talking to MLM, like direct salespeople? Are you talking to store owners? Are you talking to informational product creators? Course creators? Are you talking to coaches? So narrow down even from entrepreneur, what's your specific group? So the more specific, the better. Okay, the third question I want to ask you is, do you have a freebie that attracts to you your perfect clients? So remember when I said that getting to know when you find your people and you get to know their challenges and their needs and their desires and that their answers are worth their weight in gold? All right, well, I alluded to this earlier, but here's where those answers get really helpful for you. They tell you exactly what freebie gift to create. They tell you exactly what is on their mind. So we're getting out of our own head, right? Because we're all smart. Man, we are so smart, right? And we know what our clients need. We already know, okay? And they don't know. And so then we get frustrated that they don't know what they need, and I need to educate them. I hear this all the time. I need to educate my clients so that they know what they need. No, you need to sell them what they want and then give them what they need in your program, okay? So in this stage of freebie land, you're not trying to convince them of anything. You're trying to get them to give their name and email to get a resource for a top-of-mind problem that they know that they have, okay? So let's see. Okay, so here are some ideas. You could do a printable resource like a marketing calendar or, a new client tracking sheet, a food checklist, you know, empowering affirmations that they could read each day, right? Depending on your niche and what they want. Some sort of pretty printable resource that they would hang up on their wall and then literally look at your branding every single day, right? That's pretty hot. Okay. So I want to back up because most people, when they hear freebie, they think ebook. And although I give out an ebook right now, I'm in the midst of developing a new freebie like at this very moment. Because I'm seeing that ebooks, they're hardly ever read anymore. People want more bite-sized consumable pieces than a 15-page ebook. So if you're going to do an ebook, I would say keep it super short, you know, like 5 pages or less, super short. Okay, another thing you could do that I'm sure you've seen, like the word blueprint, I just almost want to vomit every time I see that word now when someone uses it. But, you know, a blueprint or a roadmap or, you know, a pathway to success. Some sort of like, here's my signature system, here's what you need to do, and then maybe page 2 is here's why you need to do it. Or, you know, another idea is like a habit tracker so that they're getting more productivity in their day, depending on, of course, the niche that you're doing. And then ones that I have not done that I still think are good ideas and I just haven't done them is doing the free quiz option. I'm sure you've seen a lot of those quizzes out there. And then also I'm hosting a free challenge, which takes quite a bit of time and energy, but brings a significant amount of people to your list. I've seen it work really well with people. And like I said, I haven't done that yet, but those are all freebies. And those all attract to you your perfect ideal clients. And the people that stick around, the people that read it, that read your follow-up, you know, that stick around and keep connecting with you, those are the people that will buy from you, right? So it's kind of a numbers game of getting your freebie out to as many people as possible. And it's also knowing that you've got a system in place where they're going to get entered onto the list and then queued up into an email sequence where you continue teaching them about that freebie. All right, so no matter what you choose, you want to make sure that it's aligned with your larger ticket item. So this is, I think, the biggest mistake coaches and wellness practitioners make is they're kind of like throwing spaghetti up, like, let's just see what fits. Yeah, I think my clients want this thing, and they do this free thing, but it's not at all related to the ultimate thing that they want to sell, right? So it's not a clear funnel. So again, like I talked about backwards mapping, you want to start with the end in mind, which is your, hopefully, your high ticket sale item, right? And then how does that freebie relate? So make sure that it relates in some way and that your email sequence is leading them towards that end goal. All right, so that's what we've got time for today. Before I go, I just want to give you a couple of resources that I'd promised you when we got started. So the first is the ebook that I mentioned. It is not a 5-page ebook. It's actually, I don't know, how many pages is it? Maybe 13. But I think it's really hot. It's called How to Get Good at Selling Your Service Without Feeling Uncomfortable, so that you can get fully booked with clients and have the cash in your pocket to do whatever you would like. Pay down your debt, take that vacation, you know, buy that next coaching package that you want, right? All sorts of goals that you have that you can now pay for. So it just, whatever you choose, just feels so good to finally have that time and money freedom. So if you would like that, you just go to my website, coachkatiecollins.com, and enter your name and email there. That'll get delivered to you immediately. And then it does have an awesome email sequence, like super valuable, not salesy at all. I just lay out exactly the steps you need to do to build a consistent coaching practice, or wellness practice. All right, and then if you would like support on coming up with your freebie, so if you've got this information and you're like, I still don't know what I would do, then I'm offering you to book a 20-minute call with me. So it's my gift. It's no strings attached. So if you want to grab one of these Get Your Freebie Done calls with me, just comment below or send me a private message and I'll send you a link to book the call with me. I only have room for 5 of these 20-minute calls in the next week. So I really like the fast action takers. So this isn't something that I'm going to do a month from now. It's literally, you know, in the next week, 5 of these 20-minute calls are going to get delivered. If one of those has your name on it, let me know. All I ask for you to qualify for that is to be a coach, a wellness practitioner, or other service-based business owner. and you've already earned some money in your practice, and you're willing to invest in yourself and your business, both time and money, so that you take the action and start making the income you really desire, right? So what I'm not looking for are people that are like, do it for me, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm not willing to put the work in. Okay, so if you're ready to get fully booked with your ideal clients while still making time for your family, fun, and adventure, just grab one of these Get Your Freebie Done calls with me. All right, so thank you so much for being here. I love having you here. I'm seeing a comment, so let me just see. Great stuff. Thank you, Star. Oh, cool. Awesome. I love that you're already creating your new freebie. So keep me posted. I'd love to grab it. Awesome. So thank you so much for being here, and I will check back with the comments later. So if you end up tuning into this at a different time, I haven't left you. I'm here. So let me know that you're here. I love your support. Appreciate you so much, and have a wonderful evening. All right. See you next week. Bye.